Hello traders and welcome back to Smart Money Insight. My name is Rein and today I'm going to share with you there are a bunch of profitable trade opportunities currently available in the stock market. So we are talking about three candidates here. We are talking about Qorvo, we're talking about PayPal and Tesla, and they are everyone's favorites. And talking about projections, probably we are expecting about 18% return or even more. So without further ado, let's check it out. We check about the broader index here, the markets, and what has been happening with the market this week. Well, I would say that this week was indeed a good performing week, especially if you narrow down to Dow and the S&P 500. Well, indeed, they mark as the best performing week since November 2024, and this is due to a better or good inflation data. And this is going to be always the tipping point whether or not the Fed will cut or hike the interest rate. Well, when the market closed on Friday, Dow was up about 0.8%, the S&P 500 up about 1%, and the Nasdaq was up about 1.5%. So market was in the bullish sentiment right now, and looking at the bond yield, well, bond yield as Friday just slightly up, but the trend last week was down. And this is kind of very important because that will give you to understand the current sentiment, the broader sentiment happening in the market today. Now, take a look at the 2-year Treasury note here, which is down on the week to 4.27%. And as for 10-year yield here fell to 4.61% this week, and 30-year yield was down to 4.84%. And what's important here, now take a look at the reasoning, all right? The pullback in yield, this is because a cooling down coming from the inflation data, meaning to say that the inflation kind of under control. And because of that, market predict that likely the Fed will cut interest rate this year, more likely to happen rather than hiking the interest rate. So this is boosting the confidence for the market, especially for the stock market, to push the stock prices up further in the coming week or in the coming months, all right? And according to the federal government here, during the Christopher Waller, during the interview, mentioned that as long the inflation data cooperates here, well, probably then you will not hearing about the rate hike. So probably you will see that the market, the bull market, will be coming back. All right. So let's understand about how this current sentiment play a part to push up these three stock candidates. So let's get down to Tesla. Now let's take a look at the Tesla price chart, and looking at its long-term trend drawn by the green trend channel, I would say that it is pretty obvious that the long-term trend is still in the uptrending mode. So this is giving confidence for investors to hold further for the Tesla. And if you are a Tesla player or investors, you probably know the one thing our concern about Tesla is whether or not Tesla has been overvalued. So the bad thing is that we pretty worried when the pullback or the corrections happens. But the good side is that we have been always waiting for the pullback to happen so we can buy these stocks at the lower price. And the good news is that there is a recent pullback, recently I would say, it's kind of like a slight pullback over here. It was a good sign, I would say, because the moment that the price dropped, then investors or traders will step in to buy more and the stocks to support the price from falling down further. As you could see here, not only one time, but it was happening 2 times, closely supported at this level. So I'm talking about this level, so about $387 price level. All right, let me write it down for you. $387 price level. Now, if you plug in the moving average 20 to understand about the current sentiment or short-term play, that the stock just crosses above this moving average 20, meaning to say that the short-term sentiment is very, very bullish. So I would say, looking at the current state, the price is at, I would say, $426. So looking at the current sentiment, it's very likely that it will crosses above the current resistance level, which is around $426. So the question is that, and as usually looking at the pattern, most likely that this stock will go further up to test the next resistance at this level, which I would say probably around $460, $460. And if the bullish sentiments very strong, remain strong, then there is a possibility even it crosses further up to this level, which is around, I would say, $500 price level. All right. However, if there is a pullback, then probably first this is going to be the support, and I would say a very strong support, looking at its historical support over here, which is about $387. However, if the stock, there is a further correction coming from the stocks, then probably it will stop here. And we are talking about $351 level. All right. Now, in order for us to understand about where probably that the stock will be heading to next in the coming week or months, we would like to understand the current sentiment by looking at the option markets. All right. Now let's take a look at the option volatility smart chart. Now let's take a look at this implied volatility smart chart for Tesla. And for those of you kind of new with the chart, let me try to explain about how to read the chart. Well, the first one here, the y-axis represents the level of the implied volatility, and the x-axis here represents the strike price. The bottom here represents the volume of transactions. Now, when you look at the blue dots over here, well, this is to represents the put options, and the red dot here represents the call options. All right. Now, when you look at the charts, I would say they're scattered all over the page here, and for the call options are pretty steep, and relative to the put options, they are pretty flat. So this indicates that, well, I would say investors right now are more inclined to bet on the stock price to rise. So they bet that chances Tesla will rise further. All right. And looking at this flat distribution from the put options, this indicates that investors right now, they don't really have much fear of the price to drop. All right, and this kind of supported as well by looking at the volume. The distribution of the volume here for the call option is much more than the put options. So I would say that investors are factually buying more call options than paying for protections of the put options. All right. And looking at the number of volume and looking at where the price is sitting at right now, at about $426. So I would say likely that the price will go beyond the current resistance, all right, and will test the further up to 450 strike level, which is the next resistance level. And if the bullish sentiment remains, then probably it will hit up to 500 price level. As for now, despite that, I would say investors, they don't really worry the price to drop, but the closest support that I could notice probably here is about 415, I would say. but again, that it is not really a strong support because they are really in a bullish sentiment for the stocks. So right now, we just would like to see from whether or not there is a smart money opportunity coming to the stocks. And to do that, let's use our proprietary system trader GPS to analyze further. To activate the trader GPS system is very simple. With a click of a button, then the system will help us to evaluate and to compute where likely the smart money opportunity will come in to the stock. And our job as a trader is going to be very simple. We just need to identify and find those opportunities by looking or finding this green arrow pointing upward, which is, as you can see here, very clear. All right, the opportunity is here. And if we join the right, on that day, the price has been up about, well, I would say about 67%, all right? So that makes trading simple, right? I believe. Okay, right now I would say there's another opportunity here because there is a corrections, and it seems, together with the sentiment, very bullish sentiment, so likely that the price will continue to go higher. Probably will be touching this 450 level, and if the bullish sentiment remains, probably will test further to 500 or even more, all right, which we need to analyze further. But as for now, I would see that this is going to be the entry opportunity, all right? Now, let's take a look further on the next candidate, Qorvo. Now, let's take a look at this Qorvo price chart, all right? And for your information, that Qorvo is a leading semiconductor company that designs and manufactures innovative solutions for wireless and wired communications. And this company is doing or specializing in radio frequency solutions. And what is so interesting about this Qorvo is that when you bring this price chart into a weekly chart, then you would see that so far the long-term trend has been uptrending, but recently there is a drop, there's a corrections, I would say, happening around November 2024. And if you pay attention closely on this green line, you realize that this green line historically has been a long support for Qorvo, all right? Now, let's back to the daily chart to understand this long support, why this long support is very important, all right? Now, after the drop of the price here, or the plans, then this is the support level. I would say the price rebounds and there's a consolidations over here for quite some time, all right? Now, if you scrutinize further, then there is a big volume over here is more than usual or very unusual with a very short bar, meaning to say that there is a very strong support which is buying around, I would say, $69 price level, all right? So whenever the price drop or arrange this price, there always investors or the market will keep buying the price, whatever the market selling at $69, and it's becoming a very good support, as you can see coming from the volume over here. And then eventually the price started to rise, all right? Now, if you plug in with the moving average 50, I mean the medium kind term of the sentiments, you realize that it crosses the moving average 50 around here, meaning to say that medium sentiment is kind of bullish. And if you put the moving average 20 here, it's also be above the price chart right now is above the moving average 20, meaning to say the short-term sentiment is a very bullish. So as you know that how or why that this green line is very important, because that this line has been a long support for the stock. So right now it's becoming a resistance for the stock. So likely we could expect the price to be further up here, all right? We're expecting, well, I would say probably about $90 price. Or if the bullish sentiment remain, probably it will process above this resistance level and touching this $100 price level, all right? However, if the the price fails to go higher and there's a pullback, probably we are looking around here, which is about $69. This is kind of the support that we are looking at this moment. Now let's take a look at our system trader GPS to see whether or not there is a potential smart money opportunity coming to these Qorvo stocks. So very simple, we just need to click the trader GPS again over here, and it will help you to compute, well, where is the smart money opportunity comes in. And according to system, that it came in somewhere 17 December 2024. So recently here, the system indicates opportunity and the price started to go higher. All right. So we believe that if the sentiment remains, then this will even go higher. Probably there will be a breakout touching to $100 price level. All right. By the way, if the price fails to rise, then probably here's going to be the support, about $69 price range. Now, to understand about the current sentiment, I would say best if we could look at the implied volatility smile chart for Qorvo, right? Now let's take a look at the next page. Now let's take a look at the implied volatility smile chart over here for Qorvo. Now when you look at the implied volatility for the call options, I would say they are generally lower than the implied volatility for the for the put options over here. And this indicates that, well, investors' fear of the price decline somehow outweighs the anticipations of the price increase. However, when you look at the volume chart over here, then I would say it tells you a different story. Well, despite the prevailing fear, I would say investors' commitment suggests otherwise. And when you look at the volume here, then I would say investors are betting, or more investors are betting, that the stock will rise and go beyond this 85 strike level, and probably will reach this $100 strike level. And you also probably do not want to forget that this $100 strike level has been sustained for quite some time as a support level, as we saw previously from the charts. And right now it serves as a key resistance level. So overall, looking at the data here, I would say this data reveal that the bullish sentiment is overwhelming the bearish sentiments, and that indicates a strong optimism among traders and investors. Now, let's take a look next at PayPal. Now, let's take a look at the PayPal holding. As you all probably know, that PayPal is the global leader in digital payment, offering service for both individuals and companies, and they're helping their customers to make payment, transfer funds, and managing finances online and through the mobile platform. So what is so interesting about this PayPal is that the company has been experiencing a big corrections since, I think, 2021 July. It plunged down to, I think today it's just about $91. So it has been down very close to 70%. All right. And right now, since August 2024, the stock price crosses beyond the 200-day moving average. And if you observe closely as well for this PayPal, well, I would say the stock has reached a 52 weeks high. And I would say this is reflecting a significant recovery and renewed investors' confidence. So right now, since July 2024, I would say the investors was very bullish about PayPal company here. All right. Now, just take a look closely as the price today is sitting at $91. All right, so if we plug in with moving average 20, the short-term sentiment, I would say it just crossed beyond the 20 days moving average. So in terms of the short-term sentiment is very bullish, and for the medium term, also it's very bullish. So both long, short, medium term, investors or traders are very bullish towards the PayPal stocks. So the question is that where the price will be heading to next, I mean, in coming weeks or months. Well, there is a possibility that it's going to be consolidating around here. I would say maybe $90 to $95. Or probably if this goes up, reaching to this point, I would say about $100 price level. Or if the price fail and there's a plunge corrections, then probably the first test or support is going to be at this level, which is around $85 to $87. All right, or it possibly go further down to, well, $80 over here. All right. So in order for us to understand better about the sentiment, we need to check the the implied volatility smile chart to understand the sentiments. But before that, perhaps we just want to check with our system trader GPS to understand, is there any smart money entry opportunity happening right now for the stocks. To identify this smart money entry opportunity is very simple with a click of button on the trader GPS, and the system will help us to evaluate whenever there is an opportunity comes to the stocks. So as you can see yourself here, I would say there are 3 trading opportunities. One is here, this is the other one, and this is the other one. So there are 3 opportunities here. And as you probably know, that the reason why we love to join smart money entry opportunities, because very often that smart money will drive the price of the stock higher. So as you can see yourself from this first example, the moment you can identify this as your trade entry, all right, and you write it together, means that you have the opportunity to sell much higher at, I would say, 30% higher. Means that you have the opportunity to make about potentially 30% return. Now, the same thing happens for the second opportunity here. If you write together on this date, all right, you have the opportunity to sell higher at 15% higher. Means that you have the opportunity to make about 15% return. So that makes trading simpler for trader and really less hassle, right? Now, as per today or the last trading day on 17th of January, I would say that the system indicated there is one smart money entry opportunity over here. Now, in order for us to understand the current sentiments, let's go back and see at the implied volatility small chart for PayPal. Now, when you look at this implied volatility smile chart for PayPal, and when you narrow down the focus around here, around at the money, then you realize that the IV level for the call option here is roughly or generally equal to the level of IV for put option. So that simply means that the investors' fears of the price decline is roughly equal to the anticipation of the price increase. However, when you look at the volume, all right, then you realize that this volume suggests that investors believe that the probability of the price to rise is greater than the probability of the price to drop. So investors or traders with the bullish sentiments are currently, I would say, they're betting that the price will be around or will range between the $95 to $100 strike level. So judging from the volume here, I could say that, well, this $80 is going to be the major support, and the 85 probably going to be a minor support level for PayPal, whereas at the $95 strike level here is going to be the minor resistance, and the $100 here is going to be a major resistance for PayPal. Now, while the stock may show us very strong bullish or bearish signals, you always need to remember that these movements are always a secondary to a broader geopolitical and macroeconomic events that shape the market itself. So external factors, I would say, very often have a more significant impact on the market trends and stock performance. And that's all the analysis I have for the stocks today. And if you want to know more about our proprietary system trader GPS and how it works and how smart money opportunity can help traders like ourselves to trade better and smarter in the stock markets, then you can check the link in the description below. And if you believe my sharing is useful, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and click the notification so you do not miss out any good opportunities. And also, please leave a comment below if you want me to analyze your favorite stocks whenever the opportunity comes, so I can share more smart money insight for you. So see you at the next ones, and trade smart.